Clicking the main intro in 3, 2, 1.
Let's get ready to mortgage. He is the prince of programs, guru of guidelines, master of matrices. He puts the fun.
All right, you heard the man. My name is Mark Eitel, host of the Mr. Mortgage Show, and thank you so much for spending a bit of your weekend with us. We, as always, are going to cover the topics of the week, dive into what's happening in the world of interest rates and real estate, and yeah, we're gonna dive right in. But before we do that, I want to cover just a couple of quick things. Recapping the week. I guess let me start there. Recapping the week. Interest rates remain kind of flat. We're in a trading channel. We've been there for a while. We look like we're going to stay there. I know a few weeks ago we had a show. I think we titled it on the podcast, "What if Putin starts shooting?" And we were referencing what would happen in the interest rate environment. And when Russia started to invade Ukraine, there was a little bit of a pullback as we anticipated. However, it didn't stay very long. Rates, they pulled back maybe about 1/8 of a point for a couple of days, and we were able to. We got some preferential locks, and some clients were happy. But rates didn't move down for long, and they bounced right back, and they continued to remain virtually unchanged over the last several weeks. And you'll see, headlines that say rates are down, but just kind of read that first line, and underneath the headline, they might have moved, 0.03. So, a 3.99 might be 3.96, or a 4.25 might be 4.21, but not significant moves. As far as I'm concerned, I just class all that as, a flat channel that we're trading in. So not a lot of news there on the interest rate side, although we are definitely watching Europe to see if there are any impacts beyond what we've already felt. But hey, listen, this week was Tuesday. We celebrated National Women's Day. And I know a lot of us are still celebrating National Women's Day. In my house and in my life, it's kind of National Women's World, if you will. I was super blessed to be raised by a very strong and capable woman in my mother. So she was an amazing lady. And I've been blessed to be surrounded by strong women my entire life. So Mrs. Mortgage is one heck of a woman, and I'm blessed to have her in my life. But yeah, in celebration of the National Women's Week, let's call it, and the sisterhood that is contained within, I did a little research, and I found it super interesting that there are more single women who own real estate than single men in the primary residential space. So I found that really interesting, because if you dig a little bit deeper, these ladies are doing it with less. The average female income for the same job is 84%, as per the study that I read. So doing the same job with less income, and they're out there purchasing more property and making it happen. 53% of the households of homeowners are single women households. So found that super interesting. One more thing that we can celebrate about the ladies. So just thank you, ladies, for keeping us men in line. And in the world of real estate, there are a lot of powerful women. So we celebrate you, and thank you for allowing us to share your space. So also this week, we saw a report released that mortgage applications crept back up almost 9% in the reporting period. And that was interesting, because interest rates continue to have slight upward pressure, and we're, in some cases, a full half a point or 3/4 of a point over where we were, just a couple months ago. But I think people are seeing a newfound urgency to jump into the market. They don't want to miss out. They see rates going up, which is also impacting their purchasing power. So it's my belief, because of that, we saw a jump in purchase applications in the mortgage world, as well as cash out refinances. And I'm going to touch on that in 1 minute. We're kind of entering a new cycle, and I'm going to call it the Jan cycle, and I'll explain that in a moment. So I thought that was kind of an interesting statistic that popped out this week, that mortgage applications jumped up 9%. So foreclosures still remain historically low. There is a little more foreclosure activity, but we're going from a zero, not zero, but relatively low, darn near 0% foreclosure rate, to starting to see some more filings. And I think there were about 2,600 completed mortgage foreclosures in February in the state of Florida, which is typically a leading state in foreclosure activity. So foreclosures remain scarce, the market remains hot, and the ladies are out there getting it done. So that's kind of wrapping up the week where we were this last week. And let me jump into that Jan phenomenon, if you will. I don't know how many of you grew up watching the Brady Bunch or had kids that watched the Brady Bunch, but if I remember correctly, the middle sister was Jan. And there are a lot of homeowners like Jan out there right now. What do I mean by that? Well, you don't really want to sell. You're kind of stuck in this middle, right? You want to capitalize on the equity, and it's a great time to do so, but you look around at what's available to then go purchase, and you're thinking, wow, there's not anything that I like better out there, certainly not for the price points. And I know that's not everybody's case, but a lot of people that I talk to are in that space where they really love their neighborhood, but they're sitting on significant equity, and they're thinking to themselves, man, what an amazing time to sell my property and go out there and buy a bigger, more beautiful property. But then they start looking and realize, wow, well, wait a minute, if I sell my house for $800,000 and I take $400,000 of equity and I go out there and drop it on $1.2 million property, well, my taxes are going to be based on that higher purchase price. My insurance is going to be based on that higher value. Does it really make a lot of sense? I kind of like my neighbors. I wave at them every morning. My kids go to school in this school district. So there are people out there who are saying, okay, wait a minute, I feel stuck in the middle. And we're seeing some interest in the refinance space for people who want to renovate or put additions on their home. So they're taking that big nest egg of equity and reinvesting it in the property. And they're adding a bedroom or a bathroom or remodeling the kitchen and making the home that's in the neighborhood they already love, surrounded by the people they already love, and they're turning it into that home that they once fell in love with, and they're loving it all over again. So kind of interesting to see that happen in the marketplace, that there's that component of the market that really would like to live in a nicer home, if you will, from an amenity standpoint, but they don't want to pay for it, so they're going to do it in the form of renovations or an addition. And we looked at the top ways to increase the value of your property. I talked to Peter and his team over at SoFlo Appraisal. You hear me advertising for Peter's company a lot. And we had just a real casual discussion about where you can invest in your property to get the net gains, right? So we all know a pool's not the place. Very rarely can you recoup the cost of a pool. But, a new kitchen, a new bathroom, and by new I mean renovated, certainly can add to the value of the property. But adding living square footage, so adding an extra bedroom or an extra bathroom, improving the functionality of the home as well as the styling of the home, right? As I just mentioned with the kitchen and bath, there you're going to get some value. And then from the insurance side of things, we had the discussion, where are you going to get savings from improving the property? And the obvious jump out points are the roof and upgrading to impact windows. So I just share all that because this is kind of an undercurrent of this market. There's a lot of people who have significant newfound equity wealth, and they find themselves in a position where they really don't want to move, but they're enticed to do something with that equity. So if you're not one of those people who just want to sit on that nest egg for a long period of time and you want to use it to better your home, we're seeing that Jan cycle in the market where we're doing the cash out refis for property improvement. So, and you hear me talk about the rec loan all the time. That's never going away. You can always cash out to pay things off like consumer debt, pay off a car, motorcycle, boat, whatever the case may be. So you hear that police car sneaking up behind me, that means we're going to run to a break. On the other side of this, we're going to jump into some questions, and you can shoot your questions to the Anytime Hotline, 561-291-8569. That's 561-291-8569, or visit the web, mr.mortgage. Thank you.